Let me tell you about the night I nearly got arrested for breaking into my own house. Yeah, you heard that right. Imagine stepping off a plane, jet-lagged out of your mind, dragging your suitcase across your front porch, and before the door even finishes swinging open, there's a woman you've never seen before standing in your foyer wearing your silk pajamas, absolutely screaming. And I mean panic in her throat, horror movie level screaming, "Intruder!" at the top of her lungs. She didn't just shout either. No. She sprinted across my marble entryway, mashed the panic button on my own security console, and with the speed of someone who's practiced this was dialing 911 to report me, the guy whose name is on the deed, as a dangerous vagrant who was apparently trying to force entry into her temporary residence. I just stood there blinking, luggage in hand, too tired to even get mad yet, watching this stranger give the 911 dispatcher my height, my build, the color of my jacket, as if she'd memorized it all. She sounded so genuinely afraid I almost started doubting myself, like maybe I really was the criminal in my own foyer. And while she's spinning this Oscar-worthy performance, I'm noticing my cashmere slippers, my favorite pair from Milan mind you, are on her feet, and the guest towels in the powder room. She'd had those monogrammed with her initials in gold thread. I'm not kidding. The kind of thread that probably costs more than the towels themselves. Let me back up a sec, just so you know who you're dealing with. I'm Miles Danner. I'm a software consultant, one of those types who likes things quiet, predictable, and preferably optimized by a good set of noise-canceling headphones. My house? It's a restored 1920s manor in Hawthorne Point, a neighborhood where the hedges are sharper than the residents' tongues, and everybody's self-worth is measured by their property values and their HOA compliance score. Our HOA president? Evelyn Stokes. If Martha Stewart and a drill sergeant had a baby, and that baby grew up with a clipboard permanently attached to her hand and a golf cart named Civility, with a vanity plate that says Odorel Dewey, well, that's Evelyn. Evelyn is a legend, patrols the streets, takes notes on your trash can placement, photographs violations like she's working a crime scene, and has been known to knock on your door to remind you about the exact shade of mulch required in the community guidelines. I travel a lot for work. This last trip I'd been in Tokyo for 2 weeks, deep in a software security project, and like an idiot, I rushed out the door and missed all the warning signs. First clue? My gate code didn't work when I got back. Second clue? The lights were on a schedule I didn't set. There were fresh vases of flowers I'd never seen before. And, oh yeah, Evelyn standing inside my house calling the cops on me. Before Tokyo, she'd left a series of courtesy notices in my mailbox. Each one was more absurd than the last. Non-standard wreath diameter, unapproved driveway sheen, and my personal favorite. Curtains suggest bachelor squalor. She started showing up for wellness inspections while I was gone, claiming the HOA had a duty to make sure I wasn't letting the place fall apart. I turned her down twice, once while holding a cup of coffee in my own doorway, and once very politely by email. I thought that was the end of it. Spoiler, it was not. Instead, Evelyn updated the neighborhood directory to list my house as vacant, needs monitoring, complete with a little red flag. Next HOA newsletter? Suddenly, there's a whole page about the Guardian Residence program. The idea, apparently, was that volunteer residents would temporarily occupy at-risk homes to deter crime. The whole thing came with a glossy spread. Stock photos of happy people watering plants, and Evelyn's headshot front and center as program director. Now, picture me in Tokyo eating ramen at 2 a.m., and my phone pings with a doorbell camera notification. There's Evelyn wearing a bedazzled property guardian visor, directing movers as they haul a Peloton and racks of athleisure wear into my foyer. I thought I was hallucinating from jet lag. Day 3, she brought in a landscaping crew and planted hydrangeas I never wanted. Day 4, my smart home app alerts me that someone set up a new user profile called Evelyn's Manor. Day 6, I'm watching through my own indoor cameras as she hosts a board strategy cocktail hour in my sunroom. 8 people, all in tennis whites, sipping wine on my furniture, plotting the next quarter's beautification initiatives. Day 7, she's posting to the HOA Facebook group about loving the natural light in my temporary guardian residence. By day 10, a listing pops up online. Historic Manor. HOA verified, walk to lake. $300 a night. Professional photos of my living room. My name nowhere to be found. So day 14, I land, drive home, get locked out, call a locksmith and walk in just in time for Evelyn to call 911. Two squad cars show up, lights swirling. Evelyn meets them on the porch in a satin robe. HOA badge on a lanyard around her neck. Fingers shaking like she's performing Hamlet. "Officers, thank God you're here." He broke in. "I'm just fulfilling my HOA duties," and he barges in claiming he owns the place. The sergeant, tall woman, all business, looks at me, looks at her, then back at me. I hand over my ID, my keys, my folder with every scrap of proof. Deed, insurance, utilities, notarized affidavit from my housekeeper, Maria, who, by the way, had been turned away when she came to clean. Evelyn counters with a caretaker agreement she claims I signed, except the signatures in Comic Sans, on the day I was literally on a flight over the Pacific. The sergeant flips through a binder Evelyn brought, full of printouts about tenant rights, squatter protections, adverse possession. All color-coded and tabbed. Then my alarm company calls the younger officer's cell, puts him on speaker and confirms. I'm the only authorized user, and the lock code was changed 2 weeks ago, by Evelyn's phone number. 17 system disarms, all from her. You could feel the temperature in the room drop about 10 degrees. Evelyn tries to sputter something about emergency HOA access protocols, but the sergeant waves her off. While the sergeant verifies my deed, the other cop walks through the house with me, taking notes. We find HOA letterhead on the fridge, pantry standards, listing approved snack categories, and a note that my old protein bars were donated for not meeting wellness guidelines. In the study, my mail's been opened, sorted, and filed, some labeled urgent, financial, junk, and one folder marked resident correspondence with letters she responded to on my behalf, including one to my sister, saying I was on extended sabbatical. In the guest room, there's a spa robe with Hawthorne Manor embroidered on it, bottles of shampoo, a guest info packet with Wi-Fi passwords and a checkout procedure. Even a guest book with reviews from 4 different people who'd actually stayed there. One wrote, "Evelyn was wonderful. Best Airbnb experience in years." Garage? My golf clubs were relabeled as part of the community borrowing library. Neighbors had checked them out all week. My toolbox had been reorganized, my fishing gear relocated, my vinyl collection boxed up to make space for yoga mats. And then, as we're photographing the evidence, Derek, the property manager from the rental site, shows up. He pulls out his laptop, shows the officers the listing payouts, all routed to Hawthorne Point Hospitality, which just so happens to be registered to, wait for it, Evelyn Stokes. Over $4,000 in rental income, plus charges for her visor vendor, golf cart, and community leadership consulting services. By now, the officers are looking at her like she's tried to sell them beachfront property in Nebraska. Evelyn tries to pull one last Hail Mary from the porch, hand on her heart, voice trembling with righteous fury. As HOA president, I am obligated, legally and morally, to inhabit endangered mansions when owners abandon their community responsibilities. This is established precedent. I authored the bylaws, approved by a majority vote. She's saying it like if she believes it hard enough, she'll manifest a legal loophole right there in my driveway. The sergeant just shakes her head and goes, "Ma'am, that's not how property ownership works." The officers start reading her the list: burglary, identity theft, criminal trespass, mail tampering, which, by the way, is a federal offense, theft of rental income, fraud, filing a false police report. Evelyn claims she got a key because Master HOA Access allows her emergency entry to all properties. When asked for documentation, she flashes her phone, a photo of a document she typed herself, never voted on by the board. Asked again how she got the key made, her confidence cracks, and she finally admits she told a contractor I authorized it and intercepted the invoice from my mailbox. The contractor kept notes. And just like that, click, cuffs go on. You ever heard the sound of police handcuffs in a dead quiet street? Yeah, that happened. As they walked her to the squad car, my doorbell camera announced way too loudly, "Welcome home, Miles. System armed. All zones secure." Couldn't have scripted it better if I tried. By now, neighbors are gathering, phones out, peering over hedges, recording everything. "Mrs. Chan gasps, the Hendersons whisper, even grumpy old Mr. Peterson is on his porch for the first time in years. Derek snaps photos of Evelyn's robe, her badge, the chalkboard house rules. And Evelyn? She shrieks as the officers help her into the car. "You can't evict the HO from the HO. I am the authority. My Roomba, newly programmed to her schedule, bumps her ankle as she's led away and then politely reverses back into the house. 3 months later, after 2 lawyers and a mountain of evidence, Evelyn pleads guilty to trespass, forgery, and filing a false police report. She agrees to pay back the rental money, for $200, plus damages, new locks, mail forwarding, fixing the door frame where she'd installed a hotel-style lock. $7,800 all told. The HOA board, suddenly full of moral backbone now that Evelyn's power is gone, holds an emergency vote to remove her, 9-0, with 1 abstention from a decorative fern she'd appointed as a joke. You should have heard them. Big speeches about property rights, community trust, all pretending they hadn't been drinking wine in my sunroom just weeks before. At the hearing, the judge, tough lady, takes no nonsense, barely lets Evelyn finish her speech about community service before cutting her off. Yes or no, Miss Stokes? Evelyn whispers. Yes. The judge sentences her to a year's probation, 200 hours of community service at the homeless shelter, where specifically, she's not allowed to claim ownership of anything, $7,800 restitution, a permanent restraining order, and a 5-year ban from holding any HOA office in the entire county. The moment the gavel hit, Evelyn's face went ghost white. She just stood there, jaw working, no words coming out, gripping the table like it might save her from drowning. Finally, barely a whisper. But I'm the president of the HO. Like if she says it enough, maybe the universe will undo the whole mess. Judge just looks at her, maybe a flicker of pity, and says, not anymore, Miss Stokes. Not anymore. So tell me this, where's the line between community standards and just plain stealing someone's life out from under them? Drop your thoughts below, argue it out, because honestly, if this is what passes for leadership in some neighborhoods, maybe it's time we all start reading the fine print a little more closely. And hey, if you've ever tangled with an HOA nightmare, or just got a story about reclaiming what's rightfully yours, hit that comment box. I need to hear it. 3.